So, guys, welcome to another beautiful pattern drafting classes that we are here at Unique Crown Stitches. Um, Today, we're going to talk about the importance of patterns in garment production. Yeah, we're going to elaborate on why pattern drafting is very important in garment production. So, before we dive in, let me give a quick introduction. In the previous lesson, we learned that pattern drafting is the process of creating a paper template that serves as a guide for cutting fabric before sewing. We've already established that. However, understanding what a pattern is only the first step. A fashion designer must also understand why patterns are important in garment production. So it's not just all about understanding what pattern is. We also need to understand why it is very crucial and why it is very important. So that is what we are going to talk about in today's class. Many beginner tailors often cut directly on fabric without first developing a pattern. Now, in our society in Nigeria today, or in our society, our localities, most fashion design, not just beginners, some even professional tailors also, just go ahead and cut fabric direct, or go ahead and cut garments direct on fabrics, which is still okay, but then to be more precise and more professional, you need to do that on a pattern paper. Now, while this method may work for simple garments, it can create problems such as poor fitting, inconsistent sizing, fabric wastage, and difficulty reproducing the same design. Let me go back again. I said while this method may work for some simple garments, it is very possible to achieve that, making or when you're getting a simple garment, it creates problems such as poor fitting, inconsistency, inconsistent sizing, fabric wastage, and difficulty reproducing the same design. That is why professional fashion designers, garment manufacturers, and fashion brands use patterns because they provide a reliable foundation for garment construction. Now let's dive into the importance of patterns in garment production. A pattern is one of the most important tools in fashion design. It acts as a guide that helps transform designers. Sorry, let me take that again. It acts as a guide that helps perform a design's idea into finished garments. Okay? Now, patterns are important because they improve accuracy, consistency, efficiency, and then garment fit, and also production quality. Mind you, these points that I am talking about are very, very crucial, and they are the reason why we have to work with pattern drafting or pattern making, especially on a pattern paper. Talking about it helps to improve accuracy, consistency, efficiency, garment fit, and production quality. First, pattern provides accuracy. Now, accuracy in the sense that it is the ability to achieve correct measurement and measurement. Sorry, it is the ability to achieve correct measurement and garment productions. A pattern contains carefully calculated measurements based on the client's body size or a standard size chart. Now, when these measurements are transferred accurately to a fabric, the chances of producing a well-fitting garment increase significantly. Without a pattern, designer may rely on estimation such which can lead to errors in sizing and garment construction, and that is very true. Like I've found myself doing that subsequently. That was before I decided to dive into pattern drafting. When you're not dealing with pattern drafting, you end up, when you are cutting direct on fabric, you just estimate your measurements. But doing it on a pattern paper, you will make use of your exact measurements, and then later on add in your ease allowance and then your sewing allowance separately. Okay, so that is why I feel, like I said, pattern drafting is very, very important. Patterns are important because they improve accuracy, consistency, efficiency, garment fitting, and production quality, like I said earlier. Now we're talking about the accuracy. A pattern contains carefully calculated measurements, like I said earlier, based on the client's body size and standard size chart. Now, when these measurements are transferred accurately to the fabrics, the chance of producing a well-fitting garment is increased significantly. Now, without a pattern, designers may rely on estimation, which can lead to errors in sizing and garment construction. For example, if a client's bust measurement is 40 inches and the waist measurement is 34 inches, these measurements can be accurately incorporated into the pattern before fabric cutting begins. Am I right? Now, this reduces the likelihood of mistakes during production. You can easily run away from that. Secondly, pattern ensures consistency, like I said. Now let's look at the consistency. It refers to the ability to reproduce the same garment repeatedly without significant difference. One of the greatest advantage of pattern making is that the same pattern can be used multiple times to create identical garments. This is particularly important in school uniforms, corporate uniforms, ready-to-wear clothing, fashion collection, customer repeat orders, and so on and so forth. For example, if a designer receives an order of 50 school uniforms, it would be efficient to draft each garment from the beginning. Now, let's say, yeah, 50 uniforms, right? And then just make one pattern. You can just go ahead and decide to make, okay, if you have 10 people of the same size or similar size, you can just go ahead and produce 10 the same size of this one pattern, but it will produce 10 different sizes for you. So that is that about consistency. Now let's look at garment fit. One of the primary goals of garment construction is achieving a proper fitting. The primary goal of a garment construction is achieving proper fit. The human body contains curves, contour, and proportion that must be considered during garment development. Hello, that can during garment development. Now, pattern help designers shape garments according to these body figures. Through pattern drafting, important areas such as the bust, the waist, the hip, the shoulder, the neckline, the armhole can be accurately controlled. As a result, garment fits the body more comfortable and professionally. A properly drafted pattern helps eliminate common fitting problems such as tight armhole, loose waistlines, uneven shoulders, excess fabric folds, and you can count some other errors that we can find when we are cutting directly on fabric. Now let's look at fabric wastage. Now, a well drafted pattern helps to reduce fabric wastage. Fabric represents a significant portion of garment production costs. Now, in a case or in a situation where you have to buy fabric that is way too expensive, and then you decided to cut direct on the fabric instead of drafting a pattern, you just decided to cut direct on a fabric, and in the process of cutting direct on a fabric, you made a huge mistake. A mistake you cannot change. You have no option than to just get another fabric, and it will also cost you again. That is why drafting on patterns is very, very important. So, mistakes made during cutting can result in waste material and increased expenses, just like I said earlier. Now, patterns help designers plan garment pieces before cutting begins. By arranging pattern pieces properly, fabric utilization becomes more efficient. This reduces cutting error, material waste, and production cost. For fashion business, reducing fabric waste directly contributes to higher profitability. Finally, pattern saves time. Developing a pattern may require time initially, but it saves a considerable amount of time during production. Once a pattern has been created, it can be reused whenever the same design is needed. Instead of repeating measurements and calculating for every garment, the designer simply retrieves this existing pattern, and this improves production speed and workflow efficiency. Pattern facilitates mass production. It also facilitates mass production in the sense that to manufacture garments in large quantity, large fashion brands and garment factories depend heavily on patterns because garments must be produced consistently across multiple sizes. Before production begins, a pattern is created and tested. The pattern is then graded into different sizes and prepared for manufacturing. Without pattern drafting, hundreds of thousands of garments with consistent quality would be extremely difficult. 7. Pattern supports quality control in the sense that it involves maintaining standards throughout garment production. It helps to maintain standards throughout garment production. Patterns helps ensure that every garment follows the same measurement and specification because all garment pieces originate from the same pattern. Production becomes more standardized, and it helps fashion business maintain professional quality and customer satisfaction. Design development. It encourages design development also. Patterns are not only production tools, they are also design tools. Fashion designers use patterns to create new styles and experiment with design variations. Through pattern manipulations, techniques, designs can develop princess lines, empire lines, peplums, yokes, sleeve variation, creative fashion silhouettes, and so on and so forth. Many modern fashion designers begin as modifications of basic pattern block. Now, patterns also create a professional working system. It helps create a professional working system. Successful fashion designers or successful fashion businesses depends on organized system. Fully well, they depend on that. Patterns allow designers to build a library of designs that can be stored and reused in the future. This creates a more professional workflow and makes business operations more efficient. Instead of starting from scratch each time, designers can just retrieve existing patterns, make adjustments if necessary, and produce directly to production. Proceed directly to production. In conclusion, patterns are the foundation of professional garment production. They provide accuracy, consistency, improved fit, reduced fabric waste, faster production, quality control, and opportunities for design development. So, for this reason, pattern making is considered one of the most valuable skill in fashion design a fashion designer can learn. Whenever whether producing a single custom garment or manufacturing thousands of garments for commercial sale, patterns remain an essential part of the garment production process. So, I believe you've stayed with me till the end of this. And if you have any question, you can please drop your questions on the comment section, and I will do well to respond to all your questions. And please don't forget, do well to follow, like, and share for more. Do well to follow our page. If you are watching, or if you are watching this on YouTube, please do well to subscribe to our YouTube channel for more content or for more of the pattern drafting lessons. And if you are watching on Facebook, please do well to follow our page so that we can also get more content like this. And please invite friends also to learn together with us.